In this video, I'm going to introduce you to a concept called PSDrive in PowerShell. We spoke about managing files and folders in PowerShell by using commands like cd to get into the folder and then typing dir to list the files and folders in a folder, or creating a new folder by typing mkdir and typing the name of the folder. Well, this is all fun, but PowerShell wouldn't be really helpful if it is only used to manage just files and folders. There are a lot of other aspects in Windows, like your registry, your environmental variables, and things like that. And if you notice, a lot of things in Windows, it follows the same hierarchical tree structure. What I mean is, if you go into my computer, if you go to C drive, you can see all folders and all these subfolders, and they are all like a tree structure. Now, if you also go into registry, and if you see, registry also follows the same kind of hierarchical tree structure. It has 5 hives, and under that you have the keys, and the sub keys, etc. So it will be very helpful if we can actually manage these using PowerShell, just like we manage files and folders. That is where Microsoft became very smart. They actually implemented that. You can go into, let's say, hkey current user by just typing cd hkcu : and hit enter, and you are inside hkey current user. It actually shows just like your drive, your C drive or D drive. And if you actually list dir, you can see all the keys or the sub hives inside the hkey current user. And if you want to go into another key, cd software, you go there and you type dir, and you can see all the different keys, just like you see here. Now, how do I know what are the different things that I can use on PowerShell using this? Well, that's where the get PSDrive command comes into picture. If you type get PSDrive, it will show what are the different PSDrive. PSDrive is nothing but PowerShell drives. PowerShell considers all these as drives, and these drives are mapped as a drive by using the appropriate PS provider, PowerShell drive provider. For C drive, D drive, and E drive, and all these are file systems, so these are provided by the provider as file system. Similarly, for registry, the provider is registry. And for environmental variables, so what do I mean by environmental variables? If we go to computer, right click properties, and go to advanced system settings, you have this environmental variables here. Right now, this is where you actually define what are the different variables. For example, if you just go to start run and type %user profile % and hit enter, you actually get into your profile. Instead of going to C users and busy being, you can actually type %user profile %, or if you type %temp %, you go into the temp folder inside your profile. Now, that environmental variables can also be mapped as PS drive. So these are the different PS drives that comes by default, but there are many other PS drives that you can map by using plugins and extensions that you can download from the internet, which we will talk about in the later video series. Let's explore one drive here. So I have mapped already to hkcu, and inside that I've gone into software. So this hkey current user software, so we are on the same. Now, if I type dir, let's see what software we can pick it up. Okay, we have Skype here, so I type cd Skype, and let me clear the screen. Now if I type dir, I see 2 keys, and if I go into Skype, I see those 2 keys here, and you can also see the property for each key. Now, let's say I want to create a new key in Skype. I just use the command new-item space, let's call it test, and if I type test, now if I go to view and refresh, I can see this test key created. All right, and again I can delete that, so remove item space test, and if I go again and click refresh, that's removed. So you can manage your registry just like you manage your files and folders. Now I can also map alias as a PS drive. So we saw the command get -alias, and it lists all the alias. I can actually map alias as a PS drive. All I need to do is cd alias : and I type, now if I type just dir, it will actually list all the alias inside that. Again, I can go to cd colon and I go into my file system drive, and it actually goes, it doesn't, if you notice, it didn't go into C colon, it actually went to the file system, the same path where I left in the file system. Now this is not just what you can do, you can actually create a new PS drive. What I mean by creating a new PS drive is, let me again type get PS drive, and you see H key current user, H key local machine. For registry you only see these two, these are the two major hives. But what if I want to also have H key classes root as one of the PS drive? So what I can do is I can create a new PS drive, but before we create it, let's type the help and see what is the syntax and what are the different parameters you need to. So I type help new PS drive. I need to type new PS drive, and I need to give a name, and then I need to mention what provider it's going to be, and the root is nothing but the path of that. Let's create a new PS drive for H key current user, I'm sorry, H key classes root. So I type new PS drive dash name. Now remember, you don't have to type dash name. If you remember our previous tutorials where I was talking about the syntax, this name is a mandatory parameter because it is not enclosed inside the square brackets, but the parameter name dash name, that is optional. You don't have to type dash name, you can simply type, but I'm just going to type it as dash name so that you can understand it well. So I'm going to name this H key classes root space dash, what's the next one, PS provider. Okay, so it's PS provider space, and the PS provider will be registry, and the next one will be root. Root is nothing but H key classes root. So that's basically the name of this hive. If I hit enter, now if I type get PS drive, I can see that H key classes root is also mapped as a new PS drive. So if I switch to cd H key classes root, and if I type dir, I can see all the hives or the keys inside the H key classes root. It's actually a very big list, so that's the reason why it's running. So you can just push Control-C and break it whenever you have this long list. All right. Similarly, let me switch back to the file system. Okay, so inside my C drive, I have a folder called test1. Okay, now what if I want to map this test, okay, test2, let's take test2. What if I want to map test2 itself as a drive? Now I type new PS drive, name is test2, and PS provider is, it's a file system, right? Then root space C colon backslash, where is this, inside C, okay, it's test2. All right, C test2. If I hit enter, now if I type get PS drive, I see test2. Now if I switch to cd test2, test2 becomes a drive. It is actually a PS drive. All right, and I can type dir, and I can see the folder in it. So this is how you can use PS drive in PowerShell, and it is very important.